You are watching Luntha television and it's time for news. My name is Helbert Kachanda. First, a look at our top stories. Assault at San Francisco Catholic Church leads to police investigation. Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera launches revised 2023-2028 National Youth Policy. Law expert weighs in on Chilema's presidential candidature eligibility. And in news from elsewhere, Kenyan police on trial for assassination of Pakistan journalist. Well, we have these and more other stories to stay tuned in. An assault at San Francisco Catholic Church on Sunday led to a police pursuit that reportedly included the possible use of a pipe missile. The San Francisco Police Officers Association, a local police union, said on Sunday evening that there had been an assault at St. Peter's and St. Paul churches in the Northern Beach. The suspect was subsequently apprehended by the San Francisco Police Department in another country. We have the details.
Archdiocesan spokesman Peter Marrow told CNA on Monday that the incident began after an individual received communion but did not consume the host. Marrow said it was a person that went to receive communion at 5 p.m. Mass and then did not consume the consecrated host, Marrow said. He further said there was a visiting person also in attendance who stood up and comforted the person and told him, "You can't leave the church without consuming the host." It was unclear at press time what happened to the host. City Supervisor Aaron Peskin told San Francisco Standard that police said the man set off a pipe bomb during the pursuit incident before subsequently igniting a Molotov cocktail. There were no serious injuries, Peskin told the outlet. The SF Power included in its X post a photograph of an improvised device said to have ignited a city sidewalk or street.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has today officially launched the revised National Youth Policy, a 5-year plan that transmits the youth potential into their entire development framework. Speaking during the launch, Chakwera said even though the policy is under the Ministry of Youth, its application and implementation cuts across all sectors of the country's national development. He said the cross-cutting nature of the youth development requires better coordination among all stakeholders, saying he will soon be forming an internal ministerial task force on youth to ensure that the implementation of the National Youth Policy is being done across all ministries. Charity Chilanga reports.
In his remarks, Chakwera said the central place of the youth in the realization of Malawi 2063 vision cannot be overemphasized, adding that the country must sustain its engagement in activities that promote skills development, innovation, entrepreneurship, sustainable livelihoods, character building, citizenship and patriotism among the youth.
In activities that promote skills development, innovation, entrepreneurship, sustainable livelihoods, character building, citizenship and patriotism among our youth. But I am also happy.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Ujizim Kandawile, has acknowledged all stakeholders who worked tirelessly in developing the policy, saying the policy document illustrates the correct vision of the country's future. He said the policy has been developed as a tool of mobilizing resources to be a framework of enhancing coordination in the youth sector and address the foregoing challenges.
Your Excellency, the development of the 2023-2028 National Youth Policy was thorough and rigorous.
Chairperson of the Youth Network and the Youth Representative Yamikani Chipazi has challenged the youth in the country to take leading role in the implementation of the 2023-2028 National Youth Policy. Chipazi also asked the Ministry of Finance to scale up the budget going to the Ministry of Youth and Sports if the country wants to achieve all the policies contained in the blueprint.
We kindly request the government to increase the representation of young people in key decision-making bodies. It is our inspiration to see more youthful ministers and board members in various government-owned companies and parastatals. Your Excellency,
the government of Malawi approved the new National Youth Policy on July 19, 2023, after revising the previous one that was launched in 2013. The National Youth Policy launch was held under the theme, Harnessing the Youth Potential Towards the Realization Malawi 2063. During the launch, the nation also observed the United Nations Day, which was commemorated under the theme, Malawi Unite, Championing Youth-Led Innovation for Sustainable Future Resilient Communities. Charity Chilanga, Luntha Television, Lilongwe.
High Court in Lilongwe has ordered the Office of the Attorney General and Vice President, Dr. Saulos Chirima's defense lawyers, to file written submissions on Friday on whether MDF should give disclosures to be used in the case when trial begins. The matter was being heard in camera, with one of the defense lawyers, Bright Tell, saying the date for the ruling on the matter will be known after the Friday submissions. This is part of what Tell said.
Certain documents that we need for the trial should be disclosed by the state or not. Well, the court is yet to render its decision, so until then we can't know what the outcome is, whether the court will allow the documents to be disclosed or not. For the accused person, we want those documents disclosed because we need to use them.
So what are your arguments as the defense?
Well, I may not go so much into the details of the arguments, and this is precisely why the court had sit in camera, and it's because the subject matter of the arguments would be preemptive if we were to discuss it with the media or if it was to be an open court. In other words, the issue that the state and Malawi Defense Force in particular has taken is that if we disclose those documents, we might be putting national security in jeopardy. And everything around that had to be in camera, and I wouldn't be disclosing the actual arguments because then I'm disclosing the content itself.
Meanwhile, the matter before Justice Redson Kabindo, State Advocate in the Office of the Attorney General, Neverson Gisiza, told journalists that considering the sensitivity of the documents that are being looked for, they are opposing the application. He explains more.
You will appreciate that we, as Attorney General, especially the MDF through the Office of the Attorney General, were invited to make our representations as to whether or not the court should issue an order compelling the MDF to disclose certain documents. So today we appeared before the court. We presented our case before the court, indicating that considering the sensitivity of the documents, the two documents they are looking for, we would not, disclose the documents because they basically border on issues of.
Well, you are still watching news right here on Luntha Television and on our various social media platforms. Now let's have a look at our top stories once more before we proceed. Assault at San Francisco Catholic Church leads to police investigation. Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera launches revised 2023-2028 National Youth Policy. Law expert weighs in on Chilima's presidential candidature eligibility. And in news from elsewhere, Kenyan police on trial for assassination of Pakistan journalist. Welcome back. Moving on, Chancellor College-based law expert Professor Garton Kanchezera says Vice President Saulos Chilima would need a court's clarification to contest as the country's top president in the next 2025 general elections. Kanchezera was reacting to a leaked agreement between the Tonsa Alliance major partners, Malawi Congress and UTM parties, respectively, which among others indicates that presidential candidature will be rotational among the leaders of the parties. This means in the next elections, Chilima is supposed to be the alliance's torchbearer. High Court in Lilongwe has rejected an application by a convict Li Huyang, a Chinese national, to appeal outside the set time frame for appeal. Hua was sentenced to 14 years imprisonment 13 months ago after being convicted of wildlife trafficking crimes. Office of the Director of Public Prosecution Senior State Advocate Matthew Chione says the proceedings followed a direction by the Supreme Court to the applicant as he went to the highest court before seeking leave with the High Court. Robert Edward reports.
Following the rejection of the application, Justice Annabel Ntalimanja has since directed that Rin Yan Hua should and can appeal her decision to apply for leave for appeal to the Supreme Court. She has further ordered that the Chinese national will have to appeal Ntalimanja's rejection within 30 days, which, if his application succeeds, it is when the wildlife trafficking crime convict can now argue in appeal on the substantive appeal of the sentence.
An application by the convicted Lin Yun Hua. He wanted to appeal to the High Court the sentence that was given by the Magistrate Court of 14 years. But he did not seek leave of the High Court. So the High Court has rejected the application. It was made out of time. He was supposed to appeal within 13 days after the judgment of the Magistrate Court was given. But now she is appealing after almost like 13 months. So the court has rejected the application. And now what also happened was that before she made the application to the High Court, she went straight to the Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court turned her to come to the High Court first, to seek leave of the High Court to appeal to the Supreme Court.
Following the Magistrate Court's 14-year condemnation on Hua 13 months ago, the convict is said to have not sought leave for appeal from the High Court, but went to Supreme Court, which directed that he first go back to the High Court sitting today, which had already put its position on the matter. According to Chione, the judge, Annabel Ntalimanja, said she cannot speak on what she had already spoken and put her mind on what she had already given her mind, effectively sustaining her earlier decision. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
Emark Car Rentals, one of the leading car hire agencies in Malawi, has assured of more corporate social responsibilities tailored towards promoting lives of underprivileged citizens. The company on Friday donated personal protective equipment to an Area 25-based women's group that manufactures black goat farm manure, trading under the banner Tirimige West Transfer Station. In an interview, Emark Car Rentals Public Relations Officer Vanessa Bonongwe said they are determined to give space to the communities around the area which they operate in. This is part of what she said.
After looking at what these women do, we thought it wise to give them a hand. And since we are in one community, it was one way of paying back to them, considering the support that they give us. So as a gesture to encourage them to keep on going, and as a way of giving back to the society through towards promoting the work that these women do, we donated face masks, gloves, watering cans, rakes, and waste bags. Since these women manufacture organic fertilizer from waste, local waste, they do not only manufacture the organic fertilizers, but they also do irrigation farming. That is why we included watering cans, since their pumps uses electricity. So the cans might help them irrigate on smaller fields when there is no electricity.
Lilongwe District or the office has expressed worry over the spread of cholera outbreak in some parts of the district as the number rises to 15. Lilongwe District or the promotion officer Richard Mvula made the sentiments on Tuesday when briefing members of the district executive committee and other stakeholders on the development. Mvula has attributed the development to poor hygiene and sanitation practices by some people in Lilongwe River, where some people draw their water for domestic calls. Now in sports, Netball Association of Malawi has released Queen's squad for First 5 Netball series to be held from November 11 to 12 in New Zealand. Conspicuously missing in the squad are Australian-based shooter Mike Mwenda and Blue Eagles center Taekwondo Lwazi. Lwazi announced her resignation from Queen's after South African Netball World Cup. Mwai, who is in the country on vacation, has excused herself. Meanwhile, according to reports, NAM has offered no explanation on who will be head coach for the team. Now in news from elsewhere, an elite Kenyan police unit is facing the charge of wrongful death following the killing of a Pakistani journalist in Nairobi last year. The case opened at Kajiado High Court on the outskirts of Nairobi on Tuesday, with petitioners claiming that Arshad Sharif's death was an assassination planned in Pakistan. The critic of Pakistan's powerful military leadership was killed in October 2022 when the car he was in with another Pakistani drove through a checkpoint outside the Kenyan capital and police opened fire. We have the details.
At the time, Nairobi police expressed regret over the shooting, saying it was a case of mistaken identity during a search for a similar car involved in a child abduction case. But a team of Pakistani investigators later said Sharif's killing was a planned assassination. His widow filed the case against the Kenyan police unit, known as the General Service Unit, or GSU, that was involved in the shooting. Kenyan police claim that Sharif did not stop at a roadblock on the outskirts of Nairobi, but his family and Pakistan investigators disagreed, saying Sharif's killing was planned in Pakistan. The plaintiff's submissions to the court accuse Kenyan authorities of failing to prosecute officers involved in the wrongful death of Arshad and demand a public apology to the family of Sharif. A statement from the Union of Journalists said it has taken us some time to go to court because we thought investigations would be carried out and the officer who pulled the trigger prosecuted.
And that also concludes our today's news bulletin. But before we go, a reminder of our top stories. Assault at San Francisco Catholic Church leads to police investigation. Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera launches revised 2023-2028 National Youth Policy. Law expert weighs in on Chilema's presidential candidature eligibility. And in news from elsewhere, Kenyan police on trial
for assassination of Pakistan journalist.
My name is Helbert Kachanda. Thanks for watching, and it's goodbye for now.